To order the Monday, August 15th meeting of the Conestoga Valley Board of School Directors. I'd like to welcome everyone who's in the room as well as those that are joining us online. Mrs. Martin, could we have attendance, please?
7 present, Mr. Talley and Mr. Hurst absent tonight.
So we do have a quorum. Will you please all join me for the pledge of the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In addition to the board members in attendance, the superintendent and his cabinet are also with us. This is the second meeting of the month where most official votes are taken, many of which are listed on a consent agenda, which includes those items which are routine or have been discussed at our work session last week. Details of all items, related public documents, as well as minutes of past meetings are available on the district website. And our meetings observe the requirements of the school code, legislative directives, the original Act 84 Sunshine Law, all subsequent amendments, judicial rulings, and our district policies to the best of our understanding and ability. Again, details of all items, related public documents, as well as minutes of past meetings are available on the district website and the posted agenda.
Excuse me.
I will accept a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against or? If not, our next issue is, as soon as I can find it, board commendations. This is our opportunity to recognize both staff and students who have had outstanding achievements. Congratulations to the following CVHS basketball players who were named to the Lancaster Lebanon League first team: pitcher Owen Fisher and infielder Connor Espenshade and infielder Sam Thompson. Congratulations to CV High School softball players named Class 5A All-State players by the Pennsylvania High School Softball Coaches Association. Rebecca Hartranft was named to the second team as an outfielder, while Rihanna Henry was named to the second team as a pitcher. Both players were also named to Lancaster Lebanon First League team players. Thank you to the following teacher leaders for running 2022 orientation induction program for our new hires: Sonia Santamaria, Jill Stoltzfus, Andy Zellers, Emmanuel Lugo, and Sean Campbell led the new hires through sessions throughout the week to best support them in their journey as new Buckskins. Thank you to our custodial maintenance crews for getting all campuses and buildings ready to welcome our students and student athletes back for the new year. Mega kudos to Dr. Rachel Mensinger and her faculty and staff for maintaining a positive can-do attitude as they transition 3 grade levels of students and educators into the new Huskin Middle School. The mantra of patience, grace, flexibility, and understanding used during COVID has been applied tenfold to the construction project and is one of the many examples when we say CV strong. Dr. Z, have you comments?
Yes, Mr. President.
You always do.
Yes, Mrs. President, Madam President. I said Mr. Yes, Madam President.
That's okay.
All right. I didn't skip over you though, so we're okay.
Oh, that was a cut.
You'll notice 4 items in red on the superintendent's report tonight. Austin Goodling is a timely hire for a very recent long-term substitute position. Elizabeth Porter is a long-term substitute brought about by an additional kindergarten position being added to Fritz Elementary due to the recent increase in numbers there. Sabrina Finerty was just accepted as the administrative assistant for attendance at the high school today, and Sue Miller was missed when an earlier site change as far as nursing staff occurred. So 3 just happened and 1 was an oversight by us. We are down to our last couple of positions to fill. This past Friday, we completed a successful induction orientation program for 47 of our newest Buckskins. And you want to talk about a high energy, positive impact group, they're ready to take over the district. They are full of energy. One of our newest hires, who is actually post the induction ceremony, is Michelle Pletcher. Michelle is here tonight. You've heard a lot of talk about MTSS, multi-tiered system of supports, from Jill and Dawn lately, and we've been looking to fill our MTSS coordinator at the high school to match the supports found at the elementary and middle school levels. It's with pleasure that I introduce Michelle. She earned her bachelor's degree in science from Illinois State University, followed up by a special education certification from Immaculata University. She then earned her master's degree in special education from Eastern Mennonite University and her special education supervisory and principal certification from Millersville University. She comes to us from the School District of Lancaster, where she was the district-wide intervention specialist, and most recently, the Dean of Students and Team Facilitator for MTSS. We are looking forward to the impact Michelle will have as part of the high school team. Michelle Pletcher.
Thank you. I'm excited to be a buckskin.
Welcome.
As we get closer to the start of school, I have a middle school update for you. But before that, I would again like to recognize Dr. Metzinger for outstanding communications with parents. With her last two detailed newsletters and attachments, there have been 3,750 views of the August 4th newsletter and 2,150 views of the one sent out this past Friday. This community is definitely getting the information. Of those thousands of views, Dr. Metzinger has had 5 parents reach out with concerns. She has personally responded to each, and even if she receives no response, she continues to attempt to contact the parent to help alleviate his or her concerns. As for the building schedule, in order to be completely transparent, we continue to be in constant communication with the occupancy inspector and township representative. So to better be prepared for the inspection for occupancy on August 22nd, we are going to slightly shift the original schedule that Dr. Metzinger developed. We are moving the entire schedule back one day. Instead of 6th graders coming in for the start of school on Monday, August 29th, we're moving that back one day until Tuesday, August 30th. 7th and 8th graders will also be moved back one day. So this will also move our Cruise the Halls pairing orientations back one night, starting with the 6th grade students and parents coming in on the evening of Monday, August 29th, instead of Friday, August 26th. That will be again followed by the 7th grade parents on the 30th and 8th grade parents on the 31st. What this does is add one additional virtual day for students prior to them coming into the building. So we'll now have 4 consecutive virtual days instead of 3, Wednesday through Monday. This one extra day will provide an extra weekend for faculty and staff to get the building ready to accept the students. One other item Dr. Metzinger wanted me to make sure I highlighted was the use of a large tent as a place for our students to eat. This circus tent will have plenty of seating and tables. This temporary solution will allow our students to eat outside and transition right into the recess period. As a reminder, the building has a permanent outside covered eating area off of the main cafeteria as part of its construction project. This temporary cafeteria setup should almost feel normal to our students, as they have spent the last 2 years eating in gymnasiums, auditoriums, hallways, and classrooms. And as usual, Dr. Metzinger will be providing a detailed update on her weekly newsletter on Friday. That's all for tonight, Madam President.
I still wonder how we're gonna get the kids to eat back inside after they've been picnicking outside. I like that, just a small comment. There were some people concerned early in the month and last month that they didn't have information about the middle school. This is precisely why we held off sending out information. Because the earlier you send it out, the more often you have to change it. And every time you change it, you confuse people. And so even this, I'm sure, will cause some people a little bit of inconvenience, but we tried to keep that at a minimum. And the other thing I'd like to note, and I may be repeating myself, the orientation that we put our new teachers through is unique to Conestoga Valley. It's part of our initiative to make sure our teachers are as prepared as possible and as supported as possible. And it's a program that's been here for many years and continues to get improvements with the teachers, the staff members who take over helping their fellow teachers get oriented. Are there any board comments on district activities? Not yet? Too early in the year?
Well, I did want to say that getting to attend the lunch with Brad and Kathy, we got to attend the lunch for that orientation day, and that was really cool. You were absolutely right when you said those teachers are excited to be a part of this community. It was refreshing. And I was impressed with how many wanted to shake hands with board members too and just say hi and sit down, and were so quick to chat and ask about us and them and stuff. It was just really, really cool. I wish I'd had the whole day with them. That would have been a lot of fun. But anyway, it was just great. And Dr. Z did a great job too of when he led his discussion on CV. I just wanted to give you a commendation because you did a great job just reflecting CV to them and building on that excitement, and there were smiles all around, so it was a great lunch.
Thank you.
And the food was good too.
Well, I always enjoyed that. The only one time anything ever went wrong with that was, I was at one luncheon speaking with a new teacher, and she happened to mention that she didn't bother coming to board meeting because she was told the board doesn't do anything.
I'm sure that went over well with you.
And she forgot who was sitting at the table, yeah.
I also wanted to say good job to all those 8th graders who are making all those phone
Phone calls.
calls. Of course, I got 2 because she forgot something, but good job because that's a hard job to do. So, commend those 8th graders.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Okay, we will move on to professional staff input. Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
we're always thrilled to have Via show up.
Would you like me there, here?
No, you come sit, join us. We won't let you vote, but you can sit
Okay,
at the table.
thank you. Yes, I am here representing VIA tonight. My name is Lisa Smith. I am the new district-wide coordinator. I have been a building coordinator at Smoketown for 4 years, but this is my first year as district coordinator. I am replacing Becky Ripchinsky, who I'm sure you all heard speak at other meetings. Little background, I am a graduate of Conestoga Valley, 1984.
She's
a long time
tell
ago.
what year, wow.
Long time ago, very long time ago. But then I graduated from Elizabethtown College in 1988. I have a degree in business administration. And I am currently employed in the CV schools by SOSL as a lunch lady. I'm a sub, so I work, it works around my VIA days and appointments for my kids and everything else. Because I do have 3 children. Milena graduated from CV in 2016. She graduated from IUP in 2020, the COVID year, as a middle school, high school social studies teacher.
Awesome.
She recently changed schools and is now at St. Martin's in the Field Episcopal Day School in Severna Park, Maryland. I just moved her last week, so she's getting ready to do her new teacher orientation at her new school. My next child is Aubrey. She graduated in 2018. She is a student at Pennsylvania College of Health Science, and she works full-time at Chesterbrook Academy. Then there's Michael. He is going into 5th grade at Smoketown, class of 2030. Yeah. So I also want to acknowledge that Mrs. Casey is here from the middle school. She is our administration representative. This is her last year as the admin rep, and I want to thank her because she stayed an extra year to get me all settled into this position, and I couldn't do it without her, honestly. We want to review the last few years. The hours are slowly recovering to pre-pandemic levels. In 2018-19, we had 8,500 volunteer hours in the district. In 2019-2020, with the pandemic cut off in March, we were up to 4,900 hours when everything went stop. And then in 2020, 2021, we had 125 hours. Because we couldn't be in the schools. It was too much. So we would go in, do whatever we needed to do, and get out. Just, and there were no field trips, no field days, nothing. So the hours reflect that. But last year, for 21-22, we had 4,200 hours. So we are recovering quite nicely. I am hoping that goes higher this year. We'll see. I know we'll have some extra hours because we are helping with the middle school tech handout and cruising the halls. We're actively recruiting volunteers to help with those nights. So that'll bump our numbers a little. We do have some goals. Mrs. Casey and I have met, and we would like to streamline VIA in all the buildings. In order to do that, I have met with every principal, middle school, high school, elementary. I've met with all of them to discuss VIA, how we can better serve them, what thing their building coordinators can help with, and how we can make the first few days of school run more smoothly. We would like to have all buildings on the same page, i.e. we all do the copying, the laminating, find helpers for the libraries, as well as helping on picture days, health screening days, and having a presence at back to school nights, where we set up a table and we try and recruit more help. And remind them that yes, they must have their clearances. We explain how VIA works within the district to them and how VIA is different from PTO, because we are the only school that has a VIA presence in the whole Lancaster-Lebanon, I think. And we will continue to support our 13 building coordinators in any way we can, including working with Katie Meyer. She sends emails on our behalf. She sent one out today to get more volunteers for the tech distribution. She has been like phenomenal when I've needed things so far in the month that I've been doing this. And I want to thank her for that. We continue to recruit new volunteers by having a table at open houses, back to school nights, and we will have Katie send a blast in a few weeks. We're gonna let everybody settle in before we start bombarding them with emails, to try and recruit more people. And Mrs. Cassay and I have discussed creating a vision or a mission statement for Avaya to include in our media materials so we can encourage more involvement from our parents, grandparents, and community members. We'll be working on this with our building coordinators at our meetings so that it can be a collaborative effort among all of us this school year. We've left you all a little treat. We hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank you all for your time this evening. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions? I was glad to hear you mention grandparents. I always felt they were an untapped resource. They're- The other issue would be when everything, as you say, went south.
Yeah.
There was a relatively new initiative where they were trying, especially in the high school where there's less requests, and that was to let, as our clubs now start firing back up again, oftentimes we have clubs in the high school who have activities where they could use extra help. And at that time, the idea was to let the advisors or presidents of all those high school clubs know that VIA was available for them too.
Yes,
And that
please.
gets a lot more of them in the.
We would
in the
be
high
more
school.
than happy to,
Yeah, but
try and find
oftentimes
folks to help
They did
out.
not know there was a pool of parents that were willing to help with some of their activities.
yeah, VIA in the high school is very different than VIA at the
Yes.
elementary level.
Sure.
We do lots and lots of hours at the elementary level.
Yeah.
We don't do as much at the high school, but we try and do as much as we can.
Well, I think that's when
And-
there's a need that nobody realized,
Yeah.
can be filled.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always appreciate all the work you do. I don't think there's anyone that ever serves on this board that hasn't had, experience with VIA over the
Thank you.
years.
And I listed on the agenda, on my piece there, I did list all our meeting dates. And somebody got ahead of me to get the boardroom for all our meetings this year. So we're gonna be in the LG room over at the high school.
Okay,
And if anyone ever wants to join us, and of course, we love to see you all at the breakfast in April.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Are there any comments from CVEA? Or other employee groups? Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board this evening? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any concerns or questions before we move to the consent agenda? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We may have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Benigno.
Aye.
Mrs. Kaplan.
Aye.
Mr. Gilman.
Aye.
Mr. Gensel.
Aye.
Dr. Martin.
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge.
Aye.
Mrs. Grubb.
Aye. We have two items on the action discussion agenda this evening. The first one, I think, is Dr. Kozer's presentation.
Quick quote for you to take a look at for Principal Eloise in Leola Elementary. We are looking at using the school dismissal manager Have you ever been a parent in Leola carpool pickup line, Mr.
Yes, I have.
Gensel? There we go.
Yes, I have.
He's gonna vote on it right now, right?
You just go right back.
That's it, we're done. This actually came from the dismissal team at Leola. They have been researching a more efficient and a more effective way to move all of those cars quickly through the lot. So they landed on this particular app. We'd like to have Leola pilot it this year as the elementary school. We know Smoketown we need to look at that line as well. But this came out as the clear leading app right now that's available. What's really nice is we can do it all from the car. It will send a QR code to the smart board on the teacher's classroom, letting them know their parents here. I mean, it's a very well-designed app, and so we'd like to give it a run at Leola this year to facilitate the safety of that process and the efficiency of that process.
If this works, other than Leola and Smoketown, would other buildings benefit from something like this? I don't know how it works for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It is a tight system where the parents have their information and you can do photos of the parents so you know exactly who's approved, who that person is you're releasing to. It's very well designed.
Is it, so can other elementary schools be added to it for the same price, or does each school get their own, like?
I believe each gets their own, but I'm sure if we added more in, there's usually some type of discount or additional bulk pricing for other licenses.
And will that be a yearly cost, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
How does this work for security to verifying the person picking up the child is allowed to be picking up the child?
So the parents go in on the front end and they would enter all of the contact information. You can, like I said, you can even upload a picture of who that adult is. So when they pull up, they can, there's a couple different ways they can check in. The person can actually see it, or they can check in when they pull in. It tags the location that shows that person is physically located there, and here is exactly who's picking up, so you can match the faces. They have different PIN numbers that they use for the students as well, so there's a couple different ways that you can manage the security side of it.
Okay.
So then the parent, when it's because your parent would go in and change it, so say like mom's picking up today, but grandma's picking up tomorrow, she can change the picture and
Correct.
put the code in or whatever like that.
Correct. They have the pre-approval on their end, and they're the only person who has access to their kids' app and information to log in and do that and make those changes. And what's nice is at the end of the day then, it will actually send that email to the homeroom teacher of the plans for that day. So if the parent at 1 o'clock in the afternoon says, hey, grandma, something happened at work, grandma's coming, right at 3:15, it automatically will send that homeroom teacher, here's who's picking up your kids for the day and what that looks like. It's really
Do you
nice.
need this tonight?
This would be great, yes, because we'd like to get it up and running for the start of school.
I think for security, it's important, also for safety, because I remember from long ago, I was always amazed that no one ever got hurt, you know, trying to get to a car. I had a close call of my own once when I had a large car and a small child was walking in front of it. And I just happened to catch it out of the corner of my eye, because there were 2 lanes of cars, and had I moved forward, I'd have run right over. So we do need to have better control over that. And I know it's gotten even more so nowadays. There's more and more parents, especially after COVID, driving with kids.
Yeah, the security and the streamlining to keep it as efficient as possible so that kid car, and keep on moving, because that can get tiresome and a little challenging. I'm sure
Okay,
Smoketown's
Mr.
the same way.
Gensel, are you anxious to make this motion?
Yeah, I motion that we approve.
Can I ask one question, please?
No.
Oh, come on, Brad.
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
I'm trying to wait my turn.
No, you're fine, go ahead.
So the quote mentions support, does that include training?
Yes, yeah. And Leola has they have a teacher committee that runs all of the dismissal, and they run it as tight as they can run it.
They do a great job.
But they would be the ones who'd be getting that training with Taylor to get it up and running.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
for it.
Okay, now I motion.
Well,
to-
actually, questions can come after a motion too, but
Okay,
we'll take care of this.
so I motion that we approve the school dismissal manager for Leola as
Second.
presented.
We have a roll call, please.
Mrs. Kaplan,
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
Mr. Gensel.
Aye.
Dr. Martin.
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge.
Aye.
Mr. Benigno.
Aye.
Mrs. Groff.
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. We can get started on that tomorrow.
Please get back
Thank
to us
you.
and let us know how well it's running.
We will,
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I'll probably tell you.
I did not expect you, but that's okay.
Okay.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Well, good evening.
Take it as a
Even though you
compliment.
didn't-
I know,
Take it as a compliment.
I'm not disappointed, I just expected Dr. Smith, that's all.
Oh, wow, he's here if you have any questions. But I do want to present this contract to you. This is for the high school. As part of our Title I programming, we're looking to offer this program to a select group of students based on the criteria set up through Title I. And in addition to that, a requirement to any of this programming is parent engagement. And so as part of this contract, we would also have a parent engagement program. And part of that, as far as what does that mean, as far as that parent engagement piece of it, we invite families to participate. And a lot of what they look at is how to help parents that perhaps need help with, whether it's communication with school, whether it's different ways to engage the school, engage the teachers in supporting their children as they progress through the high school. It also looks at providing them with successful strategies in dealing with other agencies and organizations within the learning environment. And then finally, the students are also involved in that as well. And so there's support for study skills and things of that nature to help the students as they, again, go through the program as well. So we're looking for approval of this so that we can get started. Two main pieces is offering to a select group of students as part of that recruitment of a TALO, and then beyond that would be the parent engagement component of it. And then this would be covered through Title I funds for the next 2 years.
And this is for 35 students, is that what it says?
35, 40,
Okay.
Mike, that sounds about right. Yeah, it's
Okay.
looking about that number.
Do you think you have that, like
Yeah.
35 right now? Okay, or more so?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And
For sure.
the information you got said that they sponsored pending results. What kind of results have we had in the past?
For the Atala program? It's a mix of students, so, as we select those students, we're looking for students that, have some kind of at-risk component that we can really kind of guide and support them through that process. We'd have to go back and kind of collect hard data from it, but just from a, general perspective, typically what we've seen is a lot of help with students getting into colleges that most likely they wouldn't be pushed to go towards. A lot of students that maybe are first generation that will attend college. So we've seen a lot of students, I think, go to college that we normally wouldn't see go to college. Not that it's only a college access program, I mean, we're really looking at what kind of support can we give kids just so they're successful. So could be college, could be trade school, could be military and so forth. We've seen a lot more connection to school. So that program really brings a community of learners together that normally aren't excited about school. And it's just amazing. I mean, keep in mind, that Atala program is happening prior to school.
Right.
So they're coming in from 5:30 till school starts at 7:30. Most people, when we select the students and they go, wait, those kids don't get to school on time normally, now you want them to come in at 5:30 and we go, trust me, like, go hook them. And they just have a way of hooking those students to be able to come in and build a community. You'll hear cheering, if you come, a lot of times I'll come in the morning, early when they're there. So you'll just, see a community of students that really come together and support one another. And then really just engagement within, classes on a general basis. That we really see the participation levels will go up, and more engagement within school.
So attendance and achievement both go up with it?
Absolutely.
It's all
Yeah, I
around
wanna
us.
say, I don't wanna say we had perfect attendance, but it was like during that time that, especially that they were in that Atala program, so they met for 6 weeks, 3 days a week in the morning, is the first initial part of the program. And I wanna say it was like 98.7% attendance.
That's the toughest part, getting the
Yeah.
students to buy into a program.
And it's amazing how much they do buy into it and
Kids that
participate.
used to slip through the cracks.
Yeah,
What Dr. Z is always saying, every student, every day.
that's right.
And this is 30-some students every day. Any questions? We do need a vote to approve this.
I mean, I'll make it if Mr. Dillman's okay with me making a motion.
I'm okay with you making.
No, we
You'll
want
find
to
out.
make sure, Brad, you don't have another question.
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay.
I move we accept the contract as presented.
I second it.
Very good.
Do we have a roll call vote,
There was
please?
anger behind that.
Mr. Dillman.
Aye.
Mr. Gensel.
Aye.
Dr. Martin.
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge.
Aye.
Mr. Benigno.
Aye.
Mrs. Kappa.
Aye.
And Mrs. Groff.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to take a moment to explain one thing. I had a couple of people ask me why I changed to having a roll call vote taken. With changes in some of the laws, many of our votes require not just a majority vote, sometimes 2/3. Sometimes it's a majority of the whole board if they're here or not. Having that kind of roll call vote allows the secretary to have more accurate records to make sure afterwards when we're audited that we can verify that all of our votes are accurate. So it only takes a couple seconds more, but I think it gives us a more efficient process. The information agenda, are there any questions or comments about the finance and operations report? About the curriculum and instruction report? Anything on federal funds, Dr.
We
Z?
do, Dr. Kozer, federal
Wow.
funds announcement?
Yes, we are excited. We submitted our $1.8 million consolidated application last week. So a big thanks to the business office, Adele, Joanne Dickel. They did a fantastic job helping me work through that. So that means this is our annual multifaceted, multi-component application for the federal funds. We now have the permission to go ahead and begin utilizing those funds. So submitted in.
And then those funds are federal, but they come through the state, am I correct?
Correct, yep.
Okay, thank you. I will start with board reports. You have the IU report that was posted. I've had a lot of fun with PSBA this week, but I just wanted you to know that the elections that are coming up, as it turns out, they have moved us out of the zone we were in. We're no longer central zone. We're disconnected from York and the western counties. We're now in the eastern zone. So the only people we'll have to vote on are the president-elect and vice president when that time comes around. I also did talk to them about what's coming up with policies. And if anyone wants it, PASBO has supplied me with a list of omnibus issues that will require policy changes. Anyone wants to see that, that's coming up. They are going to be joining, and I'm sure this will affect our policies. They're merging what they call educational stability. That's homeless, foster care, custody issues, and institutionalized children. All those policies are going to be somehow connected. And then following up will be the safety and security issues. So it's a lot of, unfortunately, in a year when we're already covering a large policy section, PSBA is going to be sending us even more of them. And while I'm at it, I'll add that I also asked them about policy 903. And those of you who bothered to read the bulletin in, what was it, March, April, and April, May about public input, there are no more issues in the courts. The outside lawyers have reviewed it, Mr. Levin. Now Mr. Nate from inside PSBA is reviewing it again. So we should be getting that policy soon, and I'm going to need some board members to be part of reviewing that because it's how we treat the public at our meetings, and we want to be sure, I think, that we're more welcoming than some of the stringent regulations that they recommend. But other than that, I don't think there's anything especially new. We're still waiting for the ruling on the school funding suit. Right now, I'm a little uneasy about that result. They had post-trial closing arguments, and the judge herself mentioned that she finds one of the main issues for her to consider is how to determine whether or not the state is fulfilling its duty. And that starts to sound like a backing out to me. The defense in that suit made what I found to be a very troubling defense, saying that the state should not be responsible for issues that affect student achievement that's out of their control, things like poverty, students with disabilities. Well, we're responsible for that, but they don't feel they should be responsible for considering that when they fund schools. That's more than a little problematic, especially considering the judge wants to decide how to decide if they're meeting their responsibilities when they define their responsibilities so narrowly. That's a little scary, but I just wanted you to know that is coming up. But other than that, I don't know if any of you have asked to be signed up for the conference this year. It's not in Hershey like it usually is, but it's still worthwhile if anyone has the time to attend that. I would always recommend it. It's a wonderful chance to meet other school board members. And I never came back without information about some program that some school was doing that I thought was worthwhile. Lancaster County CTC, is there anything from that? I guess not, we don't have anyone here. The construction team, do you have an update for us?
Fred's here as well.
Actually, what I'll report is is to repeat what Dr. Z said earlier, the one milestone that we're approaching now is the 8 a.m. on the 22nd, next Monday. The local code official will be walking through the building and doing a temporary occupancy, a certificate of occupancy review.
Do you need a cheering section to show up to help that?
No, and we've actually met with him a few times prior, so he's been open and communicating with everybody. It's a push. There's no two ways about it, and I'm positive there'll be things that we'll have to address during it. But what we're prepared to do is, with all the prime contractors, is to address those immediately. And if any items come up that he's not satisfied with, if we can address it right then, we'll address it.
And you have an idea what those issues are going to be already?
Some of them, yes.
Okay.
Is there any, sorry,
Go
is there
ahead.
any possibility or any need to do a pre-walkthrough, say on Friday?
Actually, there was a, well, he's been visiting the site fairly regularly. Probably not a bad idea. We will meet Wednesday for a regular construction meeting, and we'll get a handle on our status of where we are at that point. And it might not be, I mean, he's been communicating with us quite often, so I think I feel comfortable that if we need that, I mean, he's got a schedule also, but he's been working with us
Sure.
on that.
If it's possible, it might be a good idea just to try to prevent any surprises on Monday morning.
Sure, makes sense.
But if there are issues brought up on that Monday, does he then come back?
Right, so we have a follow-up schedule with him. It's
That's
not
already
permanent, but
scheduled?
yes.
Okay,
It's not permanent, we're gonna play it by ear, but he's willing to come back.
well, we'll say our prayers for you that day.
As you can see, the furniture has already been.
So, yeah, very good. Yep, no, that's fine. Furniture is continuing to be delivered, assembled.
Please
and
tell
then
me those
shaken
chairs don't make noise when you slide them. I hate putting tennis balls on new furniture.
out. I'm pretty sure they're padded, but they're
I remember once we opened the
Padded to a
building
degree.
and had to buy dozens and dozens of tennis balls.
Yeah, no, and it's carpeted.
It's carpeted.
that area.
there's
Oh,
carpet
okay.
in that area also, right?
Any other issues? Okay, we'll all cross our fingers. We appreciate the work that everyone's doing to get this
I
up
like
and
that
running.
aerial photo too, at the top. It's nice to see that entire left parking lot there starting to get cleared
Now
out.
that's graded, that's fine graded with the stone,
Yep.
so that was to be paved, I mean, there's always a glitch, that was to be paved this weekend, and they had a problem with equipment, so now it's pushed off, however, that still will fall in within the range that we need, and that will have to be paved, and minimally, the handicap parking spaces will need to be lined out.
I have
It's
a
just
que-
nice to see it cleared.
I have a question. Tuesday, I had my football meeting with my son, and he was playing on the field there. In the back, in that, so this road here that goes in front of the building.
You're pointing on your
Oh, okay,
computer.
so-
Well, I'm
So
following, I'm
Dave
following.
pushes his arrow down just a little bit, keep going, so that, whatever you wanna call it, that lane there. When you go all the way down at the bottom, there was gutters that were, I don't know if they were purposely, they had like a black tarp over it and the water was laying
Yeah.
across. Is
Yeah,
that,
that's, oh, go ahead,
I
finish
just
your
didn't know
question.
that is, will those things be removed so the water
Yes,
can
they'll be
drain?
removed, they actually have to stay after those and maintain those, they are there for stormwater management
Okay.
as a temporary, item, and they have to be maintained and cleaned, so they should be constantly pulled off and cleaned.
Okay.
And they will probably remain until the finished paving is completed and the final grading of the entire site. So some sort of silt control will remain
Okay.
on those inlets.
I just didn't want it to be, there's always water laying there after a storm, so that's just one.
No, and the reason the water's laying there now is because they were not cleaned, so they have to constantly clean the silt out of those.
Thank you.
How are the traffic patterns communicated to both the parents when school starts?
I can't answer that, other than I did take that photo and a handful of aerial photos that I sent off to Ken to review that with the bus drivers.
It's actually being, Katie's sending that out or has sent it out.
I've worked with the high school and the middle school and transportation to have a map for the flow of traffic. Several things are changing, not just in the middle school, but the drop off and pickup for buses and parents in high school is also changing, as it's been different in the last few years. So I actually have a packet ready to go out tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
So that there's a whole bunch of back to school stuff, including the new traffic patterns.
Great, thank you.
And I'll be sending out a map with arrows and directions for middle school parent pickup and arrival dismissal for buses on the other side as well.
Rachel also sent out a text to everybody, and she probably, I don't know the number, a number of people said, I didn't get the email, I guess my email's not in, so they started updating their contact set. So that text was another great way to kind of prod them along and say, hey, read your emails. So we're communicating.
That's it. That's all I got.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Red.
sir.
This is the second time in the meeting where the public may address the board. Is there anyone who would like to? I'm not going to read my usual disclaimer, I'm sure you're aware of, but we do need just your name and verification that you are a resident.
Hi, Diane Tyson, and I'm always here, so if I'm speaking, it's something I think it's important. I am representing East St. Peter Township on the Recreation Commission Steering Committee, and we only have 4 meetings left because the grant that, for the facilitator ends in December. And with Phyllis leaving, it's important that we have a representative from the school district, I think, on this committee. It's only Upper Laycock, East St. Peter, and the school districts that are involved in this. And with only 4 meetings to go, we're really at the crunch time in terms of determining what should be in this agreement. And given that a lot of the recreation in our community happens at the school district, I think it's really critical that somebody from the board be on this for the last 4 meetings. Whether or not even you split it with 2 people and one person goes to 2 meetings and somebody else goes to 2 meetings. I just think it's very important that we can, that if we're gonna have a viable agreement, that we keep things moving. It's been a year, this comes out of a study that was done in 2019 that the district was part of, along with the 2 townships. And this was the recommendation that we apply for this peer review grant for the Department of Environment, DCNR. So we do have a representative who comes and facilitates these meetings every month for us, and Kathy did make it to one. But I really would encourage you to come up and really they're 2 hours. We're very strict with start times and end times, but we're at crunch time, and I think especially with Phyllis leaving, it's important that somebody be there from the board.
Thank you. I will respond by saying we have received a copy of the agreement.
Well, that's what we're working on.
Yeah.
We're actually working on
Okay.
that, and, you know, and we're really at the thing with, you know, figuring out what should be, you know, compensated and what should, we're at a pretty critical time here for working this out. So you give us 2 hours, it's second Wednesday of the month at Upper Lake Cox Municipal Building.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session for legal and personnel reasons.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.